Joe McNamara, severely injured, leads a mission in Iran to eliminate 2 Chinese nuclear scientists who could aid Iran's nuclear program. Simultaneously, her superior targets Alvaro Cua in Mexico, demonstrating U.S. commitment to national security. In the opening scene of the recap, Compass points home. Joe and her team touch down in Iran to begin their mission. She wants to be part of the task to the best of her ability, despite her injury, which is something that Bobby, the leader of the QRF gang, disapproves of. For the first time in a long time, Joe listens to her subordinate, but she does warn her that she will be there if the operation fails. From their base, they are guided by Amber Wan, the mission's CIA intelligence officer, while Cody keeps them apprised of developments on the ground, informing his colleagues that he will take full responsibility for the task in the event of its failure. Edwin Millen observes the mission from the White House. He is content to let others take the glory if it works because all that matters to him is sending a message to his country's enemies. Byron Westfield and Caitlin Mee approach Pablo, the CIO, with an offer. While Joe gets ready for the mission in Iran, the senior CIA officers inform him that he and his family could enjoy freedom and wealth if he sides with them. Pablo should mediate an agreement between Byron, Caitlin, and Alvaro Coro so that they might capture the Chinese ally who has been assisting Mexico in endangering U.S. national security. Pablo contacts Alvaro by phone and offers the Chinese partner over $300 million. Under the allure of the offer, Lost Tigers leader invites his brother and the CIA officers to Mexico. Byron, Caitlin, and Pablo are let inside Alvaro's residence after a frustrating security check. After murdering their older sibling, the younger brother takes over the drug cartel, according to Kyle McManus, who reports to superiors. The detained Chinese person will be transferred to Guantanamo Bay on charges of conspiring against and subsequently endangering U.S. national security. Ending explained. Josephina Cua and Cruz Manuelos, who were part of Joe's mission, take to the air in a helicopter to eliminate the Chinese nuclear experts. The Iranian cars transporting the targets and their escort are bombarded with missiles and gunfire by the 2 Lionesses, but they take a little longer than expected to eliminate the dangers. Then a missile hits their helicopter. Josephina suffers greater injuries than Cruz does when the helicopter crashes on land. Iranian forces quickly intercept Joe and her QRF squad as they rush to the scene to save their colleagues. The Iranians have arrived from all directions. The Iranians vastly outnumber Cody and his comrades, despite their best efforts to eliminate them. Joe, her team, and their co-workers are fighting this battle alone because the CAS team is so far away. Even though they take a lot of damage, everyone makes it out alive, including Bobby, 2 Cups, and Texas. Before the CAS team can come, Josephina must eliminate her supervisors and colleagues in order to defend them from their brutal opponents. Consequently, Joe is able to complete the job without sacrificing any of her team members. The majority of them have sustained serious injuries, but thankfully, they are not fatal. What really dies, or almost dies, is Joe's determination to risk her life and the lives of her teammates to fight for her nation. She is well aware that she and her country are powerless to refuse these perilous missions. It will not even surprise her if she gets called back to another battlefield in the near future. In her opinion, Joe has begun to despise her work, which is why she sobs uncontrollably after the mission. She vents her frustration and helplessness at being stuck in the midst of identical chores, rather than rejoicing with the White House. Cruz and Josephina. Cruz and Josephina agreed not to discuss their feelings until after their mission. Their injuries prevented this discussion before the season ended, leaving their future uncertain. Joe's decision to retain or release them significantly impacts their relationship's chances of success. Remaining together, either at work or elsewhere, would foster their relationship. Their shared profession promotes understanding and avoids conflicts present in other relationships. Cruz's experience could help Josephina cope with family issues. However, if Joe retains only one, their relationship could fail due to the demands of their CIA missions. Mission success? The world will see the United States' unmatched strength once the operation in Iran is successfully completed. After Edwin Millen comes to the realization that China is collaborating with Iran, Turkey, and Mexico to harm his nation. He gives the task the go-ahead. The nation's enemies band together to cause mayhem both within and outside its boundaries, oblivious to the might and sovereignty of the nation itself. Assuming the U.S. will do nothing to stop them, China sends nuclear experts to Iran and places an agent in Mexico. Once the mission is successful, this perception will be altered. China and its allies find out they're out of the battle when the CIA takes out the dangers in Iran and Mexico, reducing the possible harm. Their only remaining option is to attempt to limit the damage. It seems the Chinese embassy requested M to handle it. If he wants to be sure the CIA operative detained in Mexico won't say anything sensitive that could hurt China, he might ask them to release him. Additionally, other nations could do well to warn Millen about the dangers of being embroiled in this fight if they wish to avoid a situation like Iran's within their own borders. Whatever their motivation may have been, they obviously learned their lesson and will not meddle in American politics anymore. Joe's ending. Joe defies Neil's desires and departs for the mission in Iran. He is a doctor and spouse. Therefore, he is well aware that she is not physically capable of risking her life again on the battlefield. The prospect of her death, or worse, has left him too weak to face it after her near-death experience. He isn't qualified to do it, but he knows their kids can. Neil mutters the same, so the CIA agent is worried about whether she has a place to go back to. Neil surprises her by enthusiastically welcoming her back and by reiterating his dedication to her. Love is the driving force behind Neil's decision to stay with Joe rather than end their relationship. Because his feelings for her are so powerful, he decides to give their relationship another go, despite her innumerable instances of putting the CIA's interests before her own family. She will always have a place to return to because he has loved her more than enough. Neil must have walked away a long time ago if he could. He might not have waited for their bond to get stronger before acting, so it's safe to assume they'll remain a couple forever. Neil has made sufficient sacrifices to be by Joe's side. Maybe he can't just let go and accept being apart from her. The second choice, strengthening himself, may thus appeal to him. Even though his wife's safety is at risk on the job, he may do his best to accept the risks and value their connection. Nonetheless, it seems like a tall order, given Joe's beliefs and her dedication to safeguarding her nation, that she would give up her position for Neil if she doesn't.